Society is defined as an enduring and cooperating social group whose members have developed organized patterns of relationships through interaction with one another based on particular aims, standards of living, or conduct. Different societies, as I have known them, as I'm sure you can concur with, are known for their variations in beliefs, traditions, and way of life. The One to Walk Away from Omelas by Ursula Le Guin, published in 1973, is a short philosophical fiction with deliberately both vague and vivid descriptions. The narrator depicts a summer festival in the utopian city of Omelas. The prosperity of Omelas depends on the perpetual misery of a single child. The structure of Omelas is broken, and it reflects our problems in our own society today. Becoming culturally aware of ourselves and others means that as a society, we must take a closer look at the importance of product transparency, the injustice systems in place, and the addiction to consumerism that plays a role in today's society. Beyond the circumstances in Omelas, it happens often in the real world. The injustice systems happening in today's world are almost parallel to the story in Omelas, where children are living a miserable existence so others can live a happy life. Product transparency is not merely about peeling back the layers to reveal the bad. It is about getting to the core mission and the heart of a company's practices. According to the Association of National Advertisers, transparency is the full disclosure of relevant information required for informed and intelligent decision-making. It is distinguished by the lack of hidden agendas and conditions. A non-transparent business practice is one in which relevant information is not disclosed or is intentionally obscured from one party to a transaction. Educating consumers about the products allows the option to get involved in making a smarter and more ethical choices for humanity on both parties. Let's take a step at being kinder to the human race. The idea here is not only to change the way we consume, to help change the ways these practices are being done. Many companies have taken the approach to product transparency throughout their products and advertisement, which is a result of consumer awareness and a new generation of mission-based brands that care much about how they're doing business as well as the way they are doing business. Statistically, people have been known to purchase products, even those of higher cost, that are committed to a cause. Perhaps one of the most notable examples is one in which we can recognize the disclosure of a full ingredient labeling list on most of our products today. For example, GMO, gluten-free, and vegan products are advertised as such. These labels are introduced to the public to promote transparency and to help those people who have severe and even deadly allergies or other health issues. People enjoy this idea, but many people don't know where their products come from or where they are made, and that is the problem. Another example that reflects product transparency is one that utilizes graphic pictures of diseased lungs, rotting teeth, and throat cancer placed on cigarette packets to show the health dangers of smoking. According to the Telegraph of the UK, last year, more than 350,000 smokers stopped smoking with the local NHS Stop Smoking services around the country. People in general are persuaded using different ways of communicating the information and delivering of the message. Later on, I will propose an idea that may help with the importance of global issue, child labor. My proposal of educating consumers on products not only consumed, but purchased as well, is that we need to change the way some businesses practices are done on a global scale and on a local community scale as well. But it starts with you, and it starts today. Let's give a voice to the impoverished, malnourished, and abused children around the world, just like the kid in the broom closet in the city of Omelas. The people of Omelas are living in denial. While some walk away from Omelas, let's walk together and unite to leave this place better than we found it. To my next point regarding the injustice systems. According to the International Labor Organization, the minimum age specified in pursuance of paragraph 1 of this article shall not be less than the age of completion of compulsory schooling. In any case, shall not be less than 15 years. Convention 138 allows countries whose economy and educational facilities are insufficiently developed to initially specify a minimum age of 14 years and reduce from 13 to 12 years the minimum age for light work. In other parts of the world, children don't even have the legislation umbrella to protect them. so their own community takes charge of their people without repercussions from their own government. And this is where the injustice system is flawed and has room for improvement. Here's a closer look at the facts. According to the Bureau of International Affairs, as the world's most populous region, Asia accounts for more than 50% of children laborers. However, Africa has the highest percentage of children working, roughly 1 in 3. In Latin America, an estimated 15 to 20% of all children work. Child workers are found in a wide range of economic activities. The largest numbers in work are family-based agriculture, in services such as domestic servants, restaurants, and street vending. Prostitution in a small scale, manufacturing such as carpets, garments, furniture. Most children work in the informal economy, although subcontracting in such industries as garments and shoes often make a distinction between formal and informal, hard to determine. Formal or informal labeling are almost a way for legislators to cover and get away with what is really happening with these children. Children are submitted to work in dangerous spots without much food and water. Some children and even adults are exposed to sewage areas, which they sleep next to. These children work many hours and under the sun for very little pay. Extreme health conditions that you and I could never imagine to exist. Our needs and demands should not justify enslaving people so we can get what we want. The idea is to present new ideas to help solve this problem. Changing the way we do business can change the way these inhumane practices are done. In relation to the ones who walk away from Omelas, there seems to be a parallel with the way we live our lives to the way people from Omelas live theirs. Le Guin writes, "They all know that it's there, all the people from Omelas. Some of them have come to see it, others are content merely to know that it is there. They all know that it has to be there. Some of them understand why, and some of them do not. But they all understand that their happiness, the beauty of their city, the tenderness of their friendships, the health of their children, the wisdom of their scholars, the skill of their makers, even the abundance of their harvest and kindly weathers of their skies, depends wholly on this child's abominable misery." Everyone who participates in the consumer economy is familiar with these kinds of situations. We have the knowledge that these children are out there suffering, yet we let it happen and we move on, and that is sad. Most people tend to do what's best for them and their loved ones, not realizing the effect we cause on enslaved children who are exploited for goods and services. I would like to initiate the first step in giving a voice to those who don't have one. Let's make it publicly known to all consumers the stories and situations many of these children face today. Product labels are in some way the root of a company's practices, which are disclosing ingredients on food labels or issue warnings on packets of cigarettes. Labels should also advertise the working conditions of children who are enslaved to making our products. With that, I will segue into my last point, consumerism. Consumerism is almost like the high we chase, like the drug that keeps us trapped. In the story of Omelas, it reads, "For those who like it, the faint insistent sweetness of Druze may perfume the ways of the city. Druze, which first brings the great lightness and brilliance to the mind and limbs." The drug that is presented in the story of Omelas represents consumerism in the real world. Consumerism has driven people into the rabbit holes because they become obsessed with making purchases that greatly debilitate them as well as mentally devalue them. Consumerism is defined as when a person is quite simply addicted to having acquired stuff just for the sense of acquiring stuff. It's different from the other types of addiction in that our entire culture is immersed in immorality. The person with a consumer addiction can't just simply stop and probably doesn't realize that he or she has an addiction problem. Consumer addiction can manifest itself in a number of ways: hoarding, shopping addiction, an overwhelming need to always be in style or on trend, including the latest and greatest electronic upgrades as they happen, or even simply a sense of being empty. If you haven't purchased something in a certain amount of time, however, At its most simple base, consumer addiction is the inability to separate yourself from identifying your personalhood and your value based on the stuff that you own. Many of these issues involve psychological behaviors and other underlying issues that stem from such behaviors. These are the type of people who are the least clueless about what is happening when they purchase these desired products. But what if a handbag could show the story of children who were involved in the process of making that specific item? Would it help the consumer understand and analyze their product if they knew that it affected children into suffering? Whether it's slave labor, child labor, forced labor, or terrible working conditions, many of the products made in the world are consumed by us. The U.S. Department of Agriculture keeps a list of products that are made overseas, manufactured by slaves and children. There are more than 350 products on that list. Many of the products on that list can be found on your local grocery store and convenient shopping centers near you today. According to the United Nations, 55 million people live in slavery today. 5 million of them are children. Just as we all play a role in consuming the products that these slaves and children are making, it's time we start taking a role in how these goods are being made. I have an idea about how each of you can help stop this. As mentioned before, this is an old problem, not a new one. In the history of the world, has anyone ever wanted to live or work under enforced conditions? Of course not. And it's very hard to avoid these products, even if you could. Your impact as individuals is not only felt when American bombers go somewhere to blow something up. Decisions you make about what you buy and when you buy them can have an impact on families elsewhere. But what can you do today? Here's the thing about boycotts. They are unintended consequences. A successful boycott lowers the price of the product that is being boycotted. That means that the people who make it, even if they are not making very much to begin with, and they're probably not, are going to be making less. Second, in some of these jobs, not the slavery conditions, but the hard labor, dangerous, low-paying jobs, they actually produce the best wages available in that region. Also, some of these companies, like global corporations, are so big, so large, that their supply chains of demand are so complex that they may not even know what kind of labor is at the bottom of that supply chain. This is complicated stuff, guys, but that does not mean that you get off the hook, which brings me to my next strategy. Just pick one product in your life made by slaves or children or trafficked people. This product doesn't have to be the most important product in your life. It should be something meaningful, something that you use at least once a day or a few times a month. Just pick one product and learn everything there is to know about that particular product and about that supply chain. Check out the U.S. Department's website and find out why that product is on that list. Google around. Find out what the lives of these workers are like. Find out how they ended up doing these jobs and where they come from. Take the time to learn about the people themselves. Research the industry. Find out why companies use forced labor. Is there an alternative labor pool? What would be the cost of goods without relying on slave labor? Become an advocate in your community for these laborers. Raise money or awareness through your school or church group. Bring it up in your book club. Maybe there's a connection between these laborers, their place they're laboring, or the products their labor produces in your community. You can write a blog about this, speak to a journalist, and believe me, companies hate bad press. Another step you can take is to contact a company where you buy the product. Tell them you like the product. It has great benefits in your life, but that they have to make this right. The only thing companies hate more than bad press is mad customers. Now may be the time in American history when a single individual can have a greater impact on this issue, more than ever before. You can make your own decision to ethically stand behind a company with a good cause to help make this world a better place. Picking one product and learning about it is a heck of a lot easier than doing nothing at all. The people from Omelas are not like us. We can make a difference and walk away as a community and bring light into the world. Thank you.